All right, we got all the reactions coming in from minicamp, and if you're like me, you can't go. All right, I got a job. I'm sitting at the job. It's hard to get there if it's even ever open to the media and stuff like that. So here's what we can do. We can look at multiple different sources. And I've said this before, we can read between the lines. We can say what writers are saying what and what other writers are saying the same thing. And if you have enough people saying the same thing, then what seems to happen is you get, how do I want to put this? You get this idea of what's actually happening. When you have enough writers that write about Jack Campbell looking good, you think Jack Campbell's probably looking good. When you have enough writers writing about a player that has stepped up big time and looks like he's more physically fit, he's put on weight, if they're all saying the same thing and they're all saying that he looks like he's taking the next step, chances are he's taking the next step. So you see the title here. Did the Lions just find a new starter, like quietly? And I think there's a couple players that you could actually put in the makings of, yeah, they could be even more. So let's look at a couple of different articles on the winners and losers or takeaways from the Lions. I want to spend some time in each area. So first one is A to Z Sports, great place to find good content. I really do enjoy what Mike Payton does for the Lions. I think he does a really good job. But he talked about the players that stood out. Winners are Caden Davis, St. Brown, Williams, and Levi Onwuzurike. And I'll save the last one because that's a new starter as well. Caden Davis, this is interesting to me. A guy that was sitting here with a training camp tryout, right? Like during minicamp, he was just a tryout player. And then they're like, all right, we want to come back. And now he's killing it at minicamp. He's killing it at OTAs. That's a good thing. All right, St. Brown, I'm not going to take a lot of time to talk about. We know who he is. We know who he is. But what I love about the fact that St. Brown makes this list and others, multiple beat writers are talking about how good St. Brown has been, is that he's still the same St. Brown that he's always been, even though now he's been handed a bag. He comes into camp, he's healthy, he's feeling good, and he's still going hard. Then you get a third wide receiver, Jamison Williams, in here. All right? We've seen everybody talk about it. Dan Campbell said he was a man on a mission. Jamison Williams said, what do you want to do most this year? And he said, I just want to win. Like, he's not about individual. J-Mo doesn't seem to be about J-Mo as much as he used to be. All right? He just doesn't. All right? And then here's the one that I think catches my eye the most, and it is Levi Onwuzurike. I have heard this in multiple spots. He needed to come out and have a good showing this spring before OTAs and minicamp. We were sure he would be cut. We were sure before OTAs and minicamp he would be cut. He's making a spot for himself right now, looking forward to seeing what happens when the pads come on. That's unbelievable. All right? That's fantastic. All right, when you look at a different spot, Tim Twentyman said a very similar thing. He said Levi Onwuzurike is finally past. You hear that? Finally past the back injury that cost him 2 years. He's gained 15 pounds. Remember last year? It was the first time that he made it through a year. Honestly, it was the first time he made it through training camp that he was healthy. But he was only at like 290. Right? He was not the size he was before. He's rocked back some muscle. All right? He's been getting out there, and he was called out by Campbell as a player who impressed this spring. So it's not just one source, it's multiple sources. That's the thing that I'm looking for. Another thing that I've heard multiple sources on, and oh, by the way, could Levi Onwuzurike be a starter for this team come the beginning of the regular season? Everybody's going to be like, Craig, you're insane. All right? You are insane. And I'm sitting here to tell you I'm not insane. All right? Because I understand that we got DJ Reader. I know that. I'm not dumb. I know that we have Aleem McNeil. All right? But look at our depth chart. Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader. DJ Reader, it says already, is going to likely be held out for the beginning of training camp because of his quad issue. All right, the quad tear that he had. So big if, DJ Reader misses some time, who do you think's going to slot in next to Aleem McNeil? My money is on Levi Onwuzurike if he is what everybody says he is, if he's healthy. Let's not forget, this is a guy who was drafted one round ahead of Aleem McNeil in the same draft out of Washington. This is a guy we all loved coming out of college. He was the guy who was like, I just love to blow stuff up. Like, that's the kind of defensive tackle you want to have. If he is playing back at that level, if he truly is healthy, which is hard to do from a back injury, there could be some starting reps for this guy. There could be some starting reps, but there's possible new starter at another position too. And I couldn't say it in the title because none of you would have clicked on it, but it's at kicker. All right. And then I got another one for you, a third starter that was a semi-starter last year that I think will absolutely come in as a starter on the defensive side of the ball. All right, this last one right here is James Turner. He's been nailing just about every kick he goes out for. Every single time. Pride of Detroit does this. They say in situational, which kickers, and always both kickers kick in a situation. And it always came back that Badgley missed a couple kicks and James Turner never missed. Now, in the most recent practice, Badgley hit multiple kicks over 60, which is awesome. But James Turner has been on fire, and I don't think people thought he had the leg that he has. Those are people who aren't Michigan Wolverines fans. All right? He never had to kick long field goals. Harbaugh isn't a long field goal type of guy in college. So now that James Turner's out here kicking long field goals in practice, all of a sudden everybody's just like, this guy's really, really good. So why did he only kick for 1 year? Because the guy that was ahead of him was drafted in the 3rd round by the 49ers last year. Just the Lou Groza award winner. So yeah, James Turner has a chance to have been the second best kicker on his team for multiple years, but still be a very capable NFL kicker. All right, so who is the person that I'm going to talk about now as the final starter? And it's one that should be. It's a guy that did play, but not nearly as much as we thought he would. It is linebacker Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell is absolutely making a step forward. I think when you saw Campbell last year, when he came into the league, the whole idea about Campbell is that he was going to be a guy who is an all-around linebacker. Remember, his measurables were similar to that of Brian Urlacher, right? And that's why we took him in the first round because, and also like he had a phenomenal pass coverage grade, and it was just this guy that you never have to take off the field. Okay, but when he started playing, it didn't look that way. It looked like the game was quite frankly too fast for him. Like, it looked that way when he was sent just on blitzes, when he had a very specific job to do no matter what was happening. He looked every bit of that athlete. But oftentimes, he would look flat-footed. And what they're saying here is that they never saw him caught flat-footed, not once in minicamp. Something that did plague him in coverage as a rookie. I agree. He said Campbell got a plethora of first-team reps with Alex Anzalone ahead of Derek Barnes, ahead of Malcolm Rodriguez. All right? Even with returning starter Barnes and Rodrigo, too, looking good in their own right, Campbell appears to have elevated himself into the top twosome. So, Campbell's moved into the starting role over Barnes. This is good news for the Lions because after this year, do you know who has a contract that is up? Barnes. So what you want is you want Campbell to no doubt get in front of Barnes to play in front of him for one of two reasons. Reason number one, you need him to be better than Barnes because you might not be able to pay Barnes to come back. Reason number two, if Barnes doesn't see the field as much, I hate saying this, if he doesn't see the field as much, he doesn't demand as much money because people don't know what kind of a linebacker he is. So you might be able to afford to bring him back so that when Alex Anzalone gets too old, which he's getting there, then you might be able to have a starting duo of Barnes and Campbell. That is what I am thinking. So, new starter, how about maybe 3? All right, definitely 2. Definitely one. All right. Campbell is the definite one. Turner is oh man, we always want a new kicker. And Anuzarike could be a spot starter. All right. Thanks for watching. See you.